This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hi, welcome to a very upbeat and next edition of the Away End. First of all, got to say it, congratulations, Birmingham City, champions of Division 1. And not just that, now going for the overall points challenge and, or dare we say it, the EFL version as well. Birmingham are definitely on the rise. As we said at the start of the season, this was just the making and the beginning of the reinvigoration of our wonderful club. So, on behalf of all of the listeners, viewers, and fans of Birmingham City Football Club, Tom Wagner, Knighthead, thank you very much for bringing us back to where we should be in the Championship, and now looking forward to next season and hopefully another push towards the dreamland of the Premiership. So I'm joined today by Craig Priest from the Mansfield Matters podcast. So Craig, thank you very much. And may I just say, wonderful name. Thanks a lot for joining us to go through the game that's upcoming.
Pleasure. And first and foremost, congratulations on getting promotion and sealing the league title and just quietening down, the other Hollywood team a little bit, because I think they were expecting the league title, weren't they? So justice has prevailed, as has finance. But I'm sure, this is, like you said there, it's going to be the start of a good journey for you. So I'll be keeping an eye out next season to see what happens when you're back in the champ.
Indeed, thank you very much. And I've got to say, it's this game upcoming against Mansfield, first of all, on Sunday, it's going to be very strange. And obviously a fixture change date because of the backlog that Birmingham had. So we go into this after the Easter, really, football frenzy. The games, just like over the Christmas period, come thick and fast. But today begins the countdown to Birmingham's final home game of the season against your good selves on Sunday. Hopefully, we'll be setting even more new records on that day. We're now on 102 points as this is being recorded. Looking for the league, first of all, greatest points tally. Looking to beat that's held by Wolverhampton Wanderers of 103. Then we're challenging ourselves to go even further. We want that Reading overall points tally of 106 and to better that as well. But let's just say we could also, most importantly, end a record that's been held by our near neighbours, whose name I will not mention, for many years, of 32 wins in the league. We are well and truly on for that. And let's hope we can set all of those records straight come the end of the season. We go in after Birmingham have taken the maximum points in their past 2 away games, whereas Mansfield, they're going into the game 19th in the league, but safe and looking forwards. You're shaking your head, Craig. I still think you're safe. I will put it out there now. I think you're safe. And to me, one of those reasons, Birmingham have still got to play Cambridge. Last game of the season. So, you can hopefully rule out one of those teams by the time it gets there. But I think you're safe. And we'll go into another season in Division 1. But you're still shaking your head. And I know this is coming off the back of a run of 4 losses and 1 draw in the past 5, and a horrible home loss against Reading. I won't mention the score, 5-1. But tell us why you're shaking your head, because I think when I look at the figures and I look at the table, I just think you've got enough.
It's a frustrating one. It's not just the last 5 games. It's not just Monday. It's not anger from that. It's the way we have completely capitulated since early January. We are absolutely terrible. I would swear, but I'm not going to. We are absolutely terrible at the minute. We cannot score goals. We really struggle to do that. Don't be fooled by scoring 3 away at Rotherham. We can't last past 25 minutes in a game. We've got very, we've not got fit players available. Defensively, we're in absolute shambles. Tactically, we're in absolute shambles. And for us to I don't see where we're going to get a point between here and the end of the season. Fortunately, Bristol Rovers are worse than us. However, we blew the chance to secure our own safety on Monday when we got thrashed by Reading. All we needed to do was keep it tight and get a draw. That would have been enough to seal safety, but we didn't do it. We left the door ajar for Bristol Rovers, and if I was their manager, I would be saying, look at how terrible Mansfield are. Look at how frail they are. They've got very few players available. Let's be honest, we're going to be struggling to put out an 11 on Sunday. Then we've got to play on Wednesday nights. We've got to play Peterborough, and then we've got to play on Saturday, the final game of the season. So we are really struggling in that regards to play those 3 games in the space of a week. So if I was Bristol Rovers, I would be saying on Saturday in that 12:30 kickoff against Reading, go out and give it absolutely everything, because if you get a win and you get 3 points, it is all down to the final game of the season, because Mansfield will not pick up what they need to do. So I'm shaking my head because at the moment, as we record this, the maths says that Bristol Rovers can still survive and drag us down into the relegation zone. I've seen how we play. I've seen how poor we are. Of course, realistically, it's an uphill challenge for Bristol Rovers to get 6 points from the last 2 games. But it can happen. It could happen. And I will not rest and be satisfied until the math says that we are safe. And even then, I'll be worried in the back of my mind, because someone in Mansfield will have gone, did Mansfield register that player in time? It's that niggling voice of doubt is always going to be there, and that just comes from being a Mansfield fan and seeing how terrible we are. But you know what? I'm sure we'll touch upon it later on as well. The ironic thing is, you look at the 2 teams' form and you think that, well, we got battered 5-1 on Monday against Reading. Could be double figures against you guys. The likelihood is we'll turn up and beat you 2-1 and stop you from being unbeaten at home.
Do you know, I will not, and I say, and I have said it throughout the season, I will not rule it out. I want that unbeaten home record. It would be truly, truly amazing. But I will not rule anything out, and never ever do when it comes to Birmingham, because as we've seen in our past couple of games, we've got the results, or we've had to kind of work for them. We've made a lot of changes to the teams and the starting lineups. And again, we may see some further changes come Sunday. I have got to say though one thing, and I think this is it's to applaud, your fans, but also a particular fan who at the game against Reading on Monday, I've seen a poster and I think it's absolutely superb. Reading, as we all know, huge financial difficulty in the midst of a prolonged sale that, if it doesn't go through, will result in them being expelled from the league. And you actually had a fan go to the game on Monday, not with a, like we normally see, poster saying, please can I have your shirt? You're brilliant. We really support you. Please come and say hello. No, it was actually, please don't let Reading leave the league, because they were backing and telling the current owners, go away, let this club thrive, let this club continue. And that, to me, shows the true passion of football fans, and actually how, despite all of our, kind of competition between ourselves, all the animosity that happens with the local games, actually, we are all one big footballing family. So huge applause to that fan. It was absolutely brilliant. And I think it's just superb how, people are coming together to hopefully help Reading get out of a bit of a mess.
Yeah, may have been regretting making that sign at full time when the 5th goal went in, and hoping that their expulsion might keep us in the league. But no, genuinely, we as a club have been down there. You think that you're enduring bad times at the minute by playing League One football. That's nothing until you've been in non-league. Been down in the doldrums. We've had an absolute horrific owner in the past who stripped the club of money, made it a horrible, horrendous place to be, and made it that supporting Mansfield Town was a horrible thing. So we understand it. We understand the frustrations of a fan, and I think we'd do that to any club, to be fair. But yeah, it was either that or the fact that we've been so bad this season that there's nobody's shirt that anybody actually wants, and the guy just had to make a post to say, "Make up your own minds." I mean, it's Friday. I'm being skeptical.
I want my photograph taken. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do a poster for the sake of it. But no, I do applaud that fan. But you mentioned, and I could sense the passion and also frustration in your voice as we went through that intro. Tell us a little bit more about Mansfield going into the game at the weekend. What can we expect? Because we have had a transfer window since. Oh, did you? Did you know? Yeah. Oh, well, it happened. We may not have seen it, but it happened. But we've got players, obviously, that have changed. You may have changed personnel in terms of structure and how you play. But tell us what to expect from Mansfield come Sunday, apart from what sounds like you might just shut up shop and try and stop us from scoring rather than attacking.
It's just been one of those frustrating seasons. I mean, first and foremost, if we're taking a step back and taking yourself out of the moment and taking yourself out of the frustrations and the adrenaline and stuff which comes with it, where we are in the table is exactly where A, we expected to be, and B, where we wanted to be. Survival was the only thing on this. The amount of podcasts and radio interviews and etc., which I've done and everyone in the group chat has done over the course of this season, especially sort of, October, November time when we were flying high in the league and people were saying, "Oh, you could push for the playoffs this year," and we were sitting there going, "No, we'll literally finish above the fifth from bottom will do us," and we got laughed at. There was one particular one which I'll never forget. It was a guy who can't remember the name of the podcast, so I apologise, but did like a generic roundup, was trying to do every single club and doing a profile. And he was sitting there going, "Oh yeah, Mansfield should be on for back-to-back promotions this year. You could be pushing on, you could be in the Championship." And me and Clive are there like, what is this guy on? Like, seriously, what is this guy on? And this is when we're probably in the playoffs as well. And we're going, no. We know that at some point we're going to hit bad form and it's going to go absolutely wrong. So in terms of where we are at the minute, it's where we probably expected to be. We have been massively, massively unlucky by having injuries and suspensions and various things like that. But at the same time, if you swing the pendulum the other way, you have to then question whether or not our recruitment was right, because Nigel Clough likes an older squad. We tend to see, if he sees a player who's 42, he's still likely to give him a contract. It's just what he does. And what he's also done is a little bit stubborn. He's a loyal manager, which I don't mind, but it's backfired this season. So at the start of the campaign, we had our captain, Alfie Kilgore, who was, he'd been out injured all the previous season and still wasn't fit enough. He probably wasn't going to be fit enough until January. Yet we registered him. Reese Oates, exactly the same. We registered him. So that's 2 registration spots, which we used up for 2 injured players who neither of them impacted anything until sort of late November time. So it was utterly pointless. And I think whilst I applaud that loyalty from the club and from Clough, you could question that had we had those 2 players available or 2 slots available, we might have put more wins on the board. We might have put more draws on the board. We now at this point with 3 games to go, we wouldn't be looking over our shoulder thinking, Bristol Rovers could still catch us and something could go wrong. It could have been done. And then you lose a player like Lee Gregory, but you knew it was going to happen because he's susceptible to injury. Yet we didn't have a backup plan for it. We didn't bring in any other striker of his own because we just put everything on his shoulders. And it worked superbly well, as we saw at our place when he scored that free kick. And the only free kick we scored all season. I think it's the only one he's ever taken. 100% record from free kicks. It's a great record.
That's one to take away with you.
It is. And we've massively missed his input in terms of experience and in terms of what he brings to the team. And other players like Will Evans, who's, again, out injured at the moment, have suffered as a part of that. And we've not really recovered. And then you look at the players which we had in reserve. We signed Ben Wayne, who's a New Zealand international, apparently, from Plymouth Argyle at the start of the season on loan to sort of try and chip at the heels and come in and sort of be like third choice. hasn't been given the opportunity, and when he hasn't really lived up to it. And he's fully fit, yet Nigel Clough is very reluctant to use him. He's not actually been involved in the squad for a while. Similarly, he'll rather sort of play square pegs in round holes, and that's probably why it's not worked. So in terms of what you can expect from Mansfield, it'll be a patchwork side. Nigel Clough will sort of get us to Raya, and for the first 20, 25, 30 minutes max, we'll play on the front foot. We'll give it a good go. We'll give you a real game. But all you've got to do is sit back and soak it up, because after 30 minutes, something just clicks and we just crumble. We haven't got the fitness to get through it. And we'll just make silly, tired mistakes and be susceptible to it. And if you even play at a quarter of the pace which you played at our place, you'll turn us over. We are fearful coming into that game, and I think it's been a long time since we've felt that fear. We just know that we're not good enough, and we're limping to get over the line now.
And you mentioned square pegs, round holes. So, dare I say, is there a Nigel Clough formation, or is it, as some people used to call it with ourselves, Lee Clark bingo picking for the team? How does it work for him?
I call it Chris Dip him in goal and then 10 players outfield. And then play where you want, lads. He in League Two, when we got promoted, he favoured a 4-4-2 diamond, but that worked only because we had Davies Keeler done, of course, now at Barnsley, who we sold on deadline day in the summer. And that worked really, really well for us. We tried it for a couple of games without him to try and put somebody else in that position. It didn't work. And then Nigel Clough switched to play with a back five with wing backs. And to be fair, it did work. We stopped conceding sloppy goals. We looked structured. We moved the ball really well. And then we gathered that momentum, which we had early season. But pivotal part of that was being able to play the ball up to Lee Gregory, to be able to utilise Will Evans playing off of him and things like that. As the season's gone on, and since we've missed Gregory, we tinkered for a little bit with a 4-3-3. We signed Caelan Vickers on from Brighton on loan in the January window, and he looked a bright spot. We played a 4-3-3 for a couple of games, got him on the ball. He really ran at teams and troubled them, but teams have figured him out now. Just mark him tight. As long as we can't get the ball to him, he can't do anything. And we've since dropped back into that back five, and it's so negative because we've got no outlet up front. Will Evans, who's our top scorer, he's out injured, so we can't get service to him. We've been playing Lucas Akins up front, who's a good hold-up man, but he doesn't deliver in terms of the goals. And as anyone that's kept half an eye on the national news in the past 24, 48 hours will know, he's not available for a long time, which we won't talk about. Right. So we're now missing him. And the other options which Nigel Clough has got in terms of a strike force is the New Zealand international, apparently, Ben Waine, who doesn't seem to be anywhere near it. Jordan Rhodes, who's got a great record in this division as one of the, I think he's one of the all-time leading goal scorers in the EFL, isn't he? He's played like 2 games since we've signed him on loan from Blackpool, and he's scored 1 goal. Don't know why Nigel Clough doesn't fancy him. He's fully fit. He just doesn't fancy him. Dom Dwyer, who's a decent prospect and has scored a couple of goals for us. He's looked good. But again, he hasn't played for 8 months, so he can't get past 45 minutes in a game. And then he goes, I know what I'll do. I've got a big lump of a centre-half called Aidan Flint, who's apparently good at heading a ball. He's not scored a single header for Mansfield in 2 seasons, and he still lumps him up front. To be fair, it worked at Rotherham, but he had a tap and it wasn't with his head. So, it's very, very mismatched. So to answer your question, Nigel Clough's formation is, Christie, you're playing in goal. Put your hand up if you can get through 45 minutes. Right, off you go, lads. Sort yourselves out. It's a mess, is what it is.
Oh man, I really, really feel for you, because like I said, when we played you at your place, you've mentioned the free kick first of all, and it coming late on in the game and getting the it was a 1-1, wasn't it, on the day, and I think the one takeaway I can remember, and was speaking to one of our colleagues on Tilton Talk, who goes to every game. And she said, as she came out the stadium, it was a celebration as though not that you got a point, but that you just won the league by 25 points. And I think it showed that to me shows, though, how much it meant to get a point against Birmingham at the time. And my fear for you, and I've said this prior to Thursday's game, was that we're going in to the game knowing two things. The first one is promotion's already sorted. The title's already sorted. We should be lifting the trophy on Sunday.
We'll give you a guard of honour.
Exactly. You know, we'll get a guard of honour, as we've seen with each of the games so far, which is pleasant and nice. But my fear is a relaxed Birmingham side is actually more dangerous than anything else. And it's because they just know that they can go. And some of the players you will see are fighting for contracts. You know, the loanees, if they're that, you know, up for it and want to be at the club next season, they will be making sure that they are, you know, sweating blood for the team and to be in their starting position. And throughout the game, you know, there should be 120%, you know, of where they need to be. So we've got people that are fighting there. We're going to see players that won't turn out, I don't think, again in a Birmingham shirt as a player. One of those, and as much as I still want him around the club, but I cannot see him fitting into the playing personnel, is Lukas Jukovic. And it would not surprise me one little bit if we do not see him starting or at least getting 20, 25 minutes on Sunday. You know, it's good. To me, that's his farewell at St Andrews at Knighthead Park, and that's his opportunity. And of course, the other thing is the fact that the owners and the big boys from the club are all there on Sunday. They all want to be there with the fans celebrating, and they all want to be there on the day that the trophy is lifted and the silverware is presented. So they're also there to prove to those people that they are worthy of staying and being part of the Birmingham team moving forward. So I like to say, I've said it, I do fear, and I don't think we're going to see absolutely shed loads of goals. Yeah, if we do, hey, it's an even bigger party for us. But at the end of the day, it's a celebration day for every single Birmingham City fan. It's a celebration of not just a wicked season, but the complete turnaround and the uplift of the club, and that's the way that I think it will be. You've mentioned the players that could start, but if we were to be fearful of any players in the team, who would they be and why?
Lee Gregory will miraculously be uninjured on Sunday and turn up and play. Honestly, given what's happened in the last 48 hours with Mr. Akins, wouldn't be surprised to see Lee Gregory's name on the team sheet to support us out. Obviously, you know, in terms of who to look out for, it's a difficult one because you always talk in the moment about who's in form, and let's be honest, nobody's in form at the minute for us. Caelan Vickers is a great prospect. If he gets on the ball, he could easily play championship. You just got to get the ball to his feet. He's a live wire, he's a bit of a spark. He can run at defenders, he can cause havoc. But he's not been playing and he's not been getting the ball. I'd keep an eye on Dom Dwyer if he starts. We've looked threatening from set pieces with him. He's scored a couple of headers. He's got into good positions, got us in the box, and looked all right as an older player. But I would probably say out of them all, Deji Oshalaja, or Dave as we call him on the podcast, because let's face it, it's easier. And to be fair, a lot of people have taken it on now. You just hear people go on, Dave, well up, Dave. Great header, Dave. Great tackle, Dave. Even though he made a glaring mistake on Monday against Reading, he gifted them the 5th goal. He's a calm defender who's struggled with a little bit of injury this year. He's transitioned from being an attack-minded midfielder to a centre-half, and he's really helped us out a little bit. He's a good, calm defender, and when he gets on the ball as well, he can really be dangerous. So I'd keep an eye on him and Caelan Vickers for me.
Cool. So we come to that part where I have to ask you what your head and what your heart says in regards to the results of the weekend. And Yeah, just tell us as it is. Well, what do you think the result will be, and the scoreline?
Well, there's two ways that it could go really for me. It's you're looking at the way we've performed, not only in the last game against Reading, but in the previous probably 20 games, we've really struggled defensively. You know, you've got all those elements there of it being a party, wanting to break the points record, wanting to impress the owners, the management to try and get new deals, wanting to impress the fans and, say a thank you to those who have stuck by you in League One and watched you
Hmm.
on this journey. It could well be a cricket score. You could well hit 7, 8 goals against us. That's not an exaggeration. That's not me trying to be funny. It's just a fact. With the way Mansfield are, we are so fragile at the minute. It's unbelievable. We're like, a glass chandelier waiting for Del Boy to smash for Grandad to smash on the floor. So yeah, it could be that. But then there's the Mansfield Town who do Mansfield Town and Nigel Clough things. And that is thinking back to earlier in the season, yes, it's completely different because we had certain players available and momentum. What we did at our place was the goal that we conceded against you was sloppy. It came from, our own throw. We lost the ball in your half and it came from that throw. It was ridiculous. We got turned over in the blink of an eye. But what we did in that game was match you toe to toe and get a goal and
Indeed, yeah.
really make you work for it. And that was a message to the rest of League One to say that Mansfield Town aren't this little side. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at players. You spent nearly 12, 14 million on one player. We've never spent that in our entire history in terms of, collectively. So what that game showed was that we as a football club are there to compete. We're not there to make the numbers up, and I think that did that for us. And what we
Definitely.
could well do on Sunday is go into that game and ruin the party because that's what Mansfield Town do. Imagine winning at home all season, being unbeaten at home, trying to smash the points record, and you're looking at Mansfield and thinking these are easy pickings, and then we turn up and we snatch it 2-1 in the last minute because you switch off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go for. The other thing that I will also say is we could also be safe before a ball's kicked on Sunday because, Bristol Rovers have got to beat Reading.
Indeed.
A point's not good enough for them. They have to beat Reading. So if that happens, which it's so Mansfield that it will do, that we are safe without kicking a ball, we have also then got nothing to lose. We've got 3 games to show to a management team, whether that be Clough or another, because that is still up in the air at the minute. We want to play for Mansfield Town and we want to play for you. And also to the travelling fans, we want to apologise for how SH1T we've been this season over the last 20 games, that we could turn up and bring a performance. There are so many elements, it's up in the air. So my heart says that we will probably lose because of all the permutations around it. But my head says Mansfield Town are there to ruin the party. And it would just be Mansfield to nick a 90th minute winner to spoil it for you. So I'm going 2-1 Mansfield, even though it won't happen. It won't happen.
I mean, I just think I said it at the beginning. It's going to be a raucous party atmosphere, a full house at St Andrews at Knighthead Park. Your last away game. So, firstly, I'm expecting some fancy dress. I'm expecting a theme. So, hopefully, that comes along.
I don't think we've got the energy for that this year. We've not got the creativity for that. If we're going to do anything, it will be like crutches and like injury style things, like casts and that, just to symbolise our strike.
That could be quite funny to say, actually. But I mean, I go into the just thinking we're on a run. The players have got the mentality. They've got that bite and fight that's in them to say first task was promotion, second task was the title, third task was the points in the league for that 103. Then they're going for the 106 that Reading set. They're not going to hold back, and I think. I mean, I would not be surprised if we don't see 3, if not 4, but we could score more. We did it against Barnsley. I know Barnsley had 10 men, but we absolutely battered Barnsley. And that was great to actually see at St Andrews. So Would I rule out another half a dozen? No, but I think if I'm being honest, 3 or 4 is where I see it, and I just don't see us conceding. I think the clean sheets is another thing that that I want to keep, and that's what will continue. So I'm going to go with a 4-0 win to Birmingham. For both my head and my heart. However, I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see 6 or 7. But I wouldn't for you guys, and it's as simple as that. But Craig, thank you very much for joining us on the away end in association with AMG Logistics. It has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you on the couple of occasions this season with our games. And I wish all the Mansfield fans and the team all the very, very best. I really do, and I will stick by it, believe you will be in Division 1 next season and giving it another crack. And I look forward to having a conversation again in the future when either you've got yourself up in the leagues or we're playing each other in a cup. So thank you very much indeed for joining us and going through. And also, thanks for being so honest and passionate around the way things are.
It's an absolute pleasure. And I'll just end on this. Congratulations to all of you. Obviously, these are the seasons that we live for as football fans. So make sure you remember this when you get off to a stumbling start and you're not quite getting what you want next season. But I'm sure you will. Enjoy it on Sunday, and please go easy on us because we need it. But also, stay as long as you want in the ground and celebrate, because that means that I can get out and home quicker.
Well, they'll be lifting the trophy, so if you want to stay and watch that, you can do. But if not, you'll get away pretty quick.
Can't wait. Looking forward to, and good luck next season.
Cheers. And, Craig, don't forget, we have got, obviously, a bit of a party atmosphere, but also there are the fan parks at St Andrews at Knighthead Park. So away fans are more than welcome, especially in the one at the front of the Kop, which is near the entrance where you go. So if you do happen to come down, drop me a text, we'll catch up, and we'll have a celebratory beer. So thank you very much indeed again. And keep right on.